Welcome in, y'all. So, a couple shows ago, I think it was the last show actually, I asked a couple of you guys to name me 6 surefire playoff teams for next year. And outside of a couple teams, it wasn't really that easy. So, I've been doing a little bit of thinking, a little bit of daydreaming, quite honestly, about next season already. I know it's January, but we're already dreaming about next year. There's so much going on. Elko's on fire. Des Ricks, great grab. Another cornerback to throw into the battle royale that's going to be the battle for the starting cornerback position next year. But I was thinking about rankings, and all of a sudden today, a bunch of talking heads started throwing out way too early top 25s. And I was wondering where A&M would shake out on some of those. Not that top 25s polls are important at all until the playoff poll comes out, which is going to be an entire movie in itself next year, now that it's 12 teams. We're going to start arguing at that 12-13 range now instead of that 4-5 range. It's just going to move back a little bit. But I was wondering where A&M would shake out, and I think only one of the guys that I saw who made these polls actually had A&M ranked. And it was Bud Elliott. He had him ranked 16, which is interesting. Of all people, Bud, right? Cover 3 podcasts. It was pretty cool to see. So, to my surprise, they had Notre Dame ranked top 10. I was looking at Notre Dame as maybe a 18 to 25 team, just because 18 to 25 ranked team, because of what they lose. Hartman, Estime, they lose a couple of O-linemen. They lose pieces throughout, but those mainstays on their offense are gone. And of course, they bring in Mike Denbrock, the OC at LSU, had an amazing year this year with Jaden Daniels. But to have him ranked 10 in the top 10 consistently was really surprising. I mean, not that these polls matter, as I mentioned. As I see in the chat, some of you have mentioned, which I agree with. Naturally, we're going to talk about it anyway. But that sets up a really interesting week one. A week one that's different, or an early Power 5 test that's different from what A&M's been used to the last few years. Think about the Clemson games. Think about even the Miami games. A&M coming in with expectations. And now that I see in most of these polls, A&M's unranked. Notre Dame's ranked high. A&M has nothing to lose, baby. A&M has no expectations in the world going against a potential top 10 team, as high as rank 6 to some of these people in Notre Dame. So you have a rank 6 Notre Dame coming to Kyle Field in week 1, potentially. That just sounds great to me. But where should A&M be ranked? Where should they be ranked? Should they be ranked? I don't think so. I think you go out and earn it. I think the days of ranking A&M high based on potential, based on star rating, based on now transfer portal rating, I think we throw that out the window. I think you got to throw a little bit of history in there, and you got to make A&M earn it. So I agree with some of y'all in the chat, which I'll get to in a second. By the way, this is a call-in show, guys. Welcome in. The call-in link is pinned at the top of the chat. Click that. You'll be prompted to enter a waiting room, and I'll pull you guys in one by one to talk good old Aggie football. But yeah, man, Notre Dame top 10. Do you guys agree with that? Notre Dame as high as rank 6? I don't know, man. I know they're going to bring a pretty good defense. They lose a lot of mainstays on that offense, man. But that gives A&M a chance to hit the Elko era running in week 1. As if it hasn't already got off to a hot start now. Des Ricks. So yesterday, I put out a video talking about how we got the Des Ricks crystal ball. Des Ricks canceled his visit to LSU. Des Ricks is a former 5-star cornerback. Played 1 year at Alabama. Didn't see the field much, if at all, I don't think. He didn't acquire any stats. Redshirted the year. Transferred out after Nick Saban retired. And now he's going to be an Aggie this year. So once again, another guy to throw in to that position battle that's going to be cornerback that I keep talking about. I've mentioned it many times. We don't know who the starting corners are going to be. Is it Ricks? Is it someone else? Is it someone who is already on the team? We don't know. But I know that battle is going to be great. And we're actually going to throw another name into the battle. A familiar face, if you will. And this is actually going to be a new segment in these videos. I'm thinking of a name. I might even throw a graphic in on it whenever I settle in on a name for this segment. But we're going to call it Cryptic Tweet of the Night. Because I have a theme on this show of trying to dissect cryptic tweets from college-age kids or cryptic statements from college-age kids. This time I believe it comes from a college-age parent. And it's none other than one, Tyreek Chappelle. Let me move my name there. But yes, this morning, Merrill Chappelle, I believe that's Tyreek Chappelle's dad. If not, he's immediately related to him in some capacity. Senior season loaded. Let's go, son. Okay, yeah, I didn't read the end of that. Son, that's his dad. But showing a picture of Tyreek Chappelle in an A&M uniform. Is that confirmed? You guys tell me. But this tells me that there's a really good chance Tyreek Chappelle is joining the Aggies once again. And I've always said I think he was a solid player. I don't think he was a game-changing type of cornerback. But I did think that he was a consistent cornerback. Not a name that came up a lot, not a big interception guy, not a big play guy, not a guy that's going to make a lot of noise in the running game. Not necessarily a ball hawk, you would call it, but just a solid player. Now, my question to you guys, if Tyreek comes back, and after this transfer portal window that we just all lived through that was so awesome for A&M, bunch of DBs entered the chat, including Des Ricks and others. Does Tyreek Chappelle get a starting spot just for coming back? Or is this guy joining in on the battle royale that I just called it? That's the competition for the starting cornerback room. I really like the concept of these corners having to battle for this thing. Because let's face it, it's been a weakness for a couple years now. Well, definitely last year. Particularly last year. But corner hasn't necessarily been a strength. And I think you battle it out with all these names, now with Des Ricks in the mix, and you see what happens. You see who rises to the top. I know you always say you approach it with open competition. Just keep doing that and really treat it that way. I don't think there are any handouts here. I think you have to go earn it. That's just my opinion. The next cryptic tweet of the night, and this isn't actually a tweet, this is an Instagram story. I'm sure some of you have seen this by now. Comes from former A&M starting defensive tackle and the highest rated A&M recruit of all time, Walter Nolan. PSA, if you go into A&M, read your contract thoroughly. Hit me up, you got any questions, just trying to help. Guys, if you didn't know, if you're going to sign a legally binding contract, read it. Read the contract. Not my words. This is coming from the expert. You got to read your contracts, folks. If you don't read it, you could be in trouble and you might lose some money. Also, if you're not employed by the guy that gave you the contract going forward, you might not continue to receive money. Stunning. This wasn't that cryptic. And cryptic tweets is just a title. I thought this was pretty funny. A lot of people are running with this, saying there's something going on at A&M with the contracts and the NIL structure at A&M. Come on now. This is a disgruntled former employee who didn't get what he wanted, who, by reports, did act entitled at times. I'm not in the room. I don't know. But this statement reeks of it. I thought this was funny to see. Guys, read your contracts. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this when I get into the chat in just a minute. Oh, boy. Good old college age or college parent tweets to dissect. That's what we do on a Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Thank you guys for being here. Let's say what's up to you guys in the chat. We have one guy waiting. Max is waiting in the waiting room to get on live. Anybody else want to get in? We have open phone lines behind Max. Click that link. It's pinned in the chat. All right. Who's here today? David Franz. Good to see you, man. A&M shouldn't be ranked at all. We do better with minimal expectations. Exactly my thoughts as well. Don't rank us. Like, seriously, not just like the don't rank us cowards meme. Seriously, don't rank us. We don't deserve it. We've squandered our high-end rankings for years. Don't rank us. As David Franz says, if we start 6-0, sure, rank us then. Honestly, don't even rank us until the playoff thing comes out. That's when you can rank us. That's when we care. That's when we should care. And by then, we should have earned it. John Peroni in here. How's it going, John Peroni? They should be around 23 or 25. Yeah, I'm saying don't rank us, but there's a possibility we're ranked around 23 or 25. I think that's very much in play, especially after the dust settles on all the transfer portal stuff. Speaking of which, maybe I should transition to this talking point right now. Thank you, John Peroni. We'll bookmark that and go back to the chat from there in just a second. The transfer portal recently got an influx of athletes. You know where they're from? You know where they're from. Alabama. Yep. It's filling up, man. Caleb Downs, Caden Proctor, both today. And, of course, as you can see on the graphic, it's kind of cut off, actually. You can't see it. But Caleb Downs is very much favored to go to Georgia, where T-Rob, his former DB coach at Alabama, just got employed by. He moved from Bama to Georgia. and I think Caleb Downs is going to follow him there. I know it's nice to dream, but I don't think we're going to get Caleb Downs. Caden Proctor, he's from Iowa, I believe. I'm not going to click the link right now, but I believe he's from Iowa. He's favored to go to Iowa, so he's going home. Bunch of names. Obviously, you've heard about Isaiah Bond. We got Des Ricks. Hell yeah. And then LT Overton's an in by. It's a trade, right? You trade the more higher rated Des Ricks for LT Overton. Yeah. Bunch of players from Bama filling up in the portal. And it's a really weird scenario that Bama finds themselves in, guys. The timing of Nick Saban retiring really sucks for Bama. Because think about the influx A&M just got in the portal. Think about how many players A&M just pulled off the market. And I'm not saying that A&M just pulled all the good players off the market. I'm just saying a bunch of other teams are doing the same thing. And that group of portal candidates has shrunk. And now that Bama's losing a bunch of players and has a bunch of vacancy, there's not as many players to fill it, at least not high-end players. So they're going to have to wait for the spring window to really fill this thing out, or maybe just wait till next season. So, you know, the backups, obviously, at Alabama with Nick Saban's recruiting over the last few years, you got some quality dudes that are going to go in there, but you're going to lose some quality experience with all these names. I didn't even scroll down. The names are crazy. If you keep scrolling down, it's obviously 4 or 5-star talent after 4 or 5-star talent. That's just Alabama. The timing of this whole transfer exodus in December situation, it really sucks for these, for the playoff teams, really, and these late bowl teams, especially if you lose your coach late, like a Washington. They're in the same boat, except Washington's not going to reload like Bama. They just hired Jed Fish. A&M didn't want him, I guess, going to Washington. Yeah. I don't know what you do. Be interesting to see if they could make the college football season end earlier. I know that they have to make the transfers work with January enrollment for school, so that's why the transfer window is late December, early January. But that's right when the playoffs are happening, so it's a really weird situation. If you guys have any recommendations in the calls, in the chat, I'd love to hear it. All right, let's continue on with what you guys are saying. Anti-Ag in the house. What's up, Anti-Ag? AC/DC? Really, this is Metallica. Well, yeah, that was Metallica. It could be AC/DC if you really want it to be. You've seen Metallica in concert. This is definitely not them. Yeah, that wasn't Metallica. Don't worry about it. Lash, good to see you, man, as always. And he shall saw the horns off the wicked. I get you, Lash, man. I know. No one wants to saw him off as bad as Lash consistently wants to saw him off. Teresa B., good to see you. Gary Merton says, I put little value in the polls in the first 3 weeks. An identity should start to form by game 4. We must expect to be ranked from that point on. Exactly. That's what I'm hoping for. And my expectations on the season are that A&M ends up ranked at some point or remains consistently ranked. I don't expect championship, but I expect some success at this point. Jeb, Asian Persuasion, good to see you, man, as always. Hope you're doing all right. Glad to be here, Teresa says. Good to see you. It's official, guys. We have dethroned Kiffin from the #1 portal spot. That's right. A&M now ranked #1 in the transfer portal in the offseason. That's great. Just a great badge of honor. Feels good. Barry and Kiffin. Chappelle looks like he's coming back. Yep, it seems so. Space Jesus says, I feel Bud is somewhat objective. Chip and Tom just hate A&M. Yeah, Tom does. I do like cover 3, though. I like how they cover the wide landscape of college football because I hyper-focus on the SEC. They're my dose of the national landscape. That's what I utilize them for. Notre Dame ranked way too high, of course. A&M favored by 2. Yeah, I meant to say that. FanDuel just put out an early line, and A&M, I saw ranked -1.5. It's conceivable that they're favored by 2 in another server. So, yeah. The Athletic had A&M at 55. Okay, that's way too low. But screw it. Give me 55 and let us work our way up. Anybody see any good Des Ricks tapes? Nope, hard to find his tape, honestly. But I haven't looked that hard. We'll keep looking. We need to go after the Bama safety down. It's going to be tough. David says, my boss is a Notre Dame grad. She's cynical about her school as I am about A&M. Wow. She must be pretty cynical. Happy to have Chappelle back. He's not guaranteed to start. Okay, so you're saying he's not guaranteed. He needs to battle for it. Absolutely. You like Chappelle at nickel. Yeah, you've been saying that. I like Bryce Anderson at nickel, but I like Chappelle to fight for a corner spot. It's gonna make Chappelle even better, I believe. Anderson and Nickel, says David. Yeah, I think so. Who takes the safety besides Jacoby? I mean, Jacoby's really young. I think he has a chance to improve and be a good starting safety. I think Dalton Brooks improved over the course of the year. I think you could move Bryce Anderson out to safety and potentially play one of the transfer corner/DBs. There's a lot of versatile guys in that transfer pool. I think you have some options in the secondary. I just think you need to start Bryce Anderson. I think Jared Kerr will once again be a quality sub off the bench. I like him as a sub off the bench. I don't know if he's necessarily a starter caliber, but I really like him as a sub. You got a lot of options there. You got a lot of options. But I don't know. Dalton Brooks kind of ramped up throughout the year. He played a lot, or he played in spells throughout the year. We saw him have a pretty good bowl game, so yeah. Jeb says, after that tweet, kind of glad Nolan's gone. He's strictly left for money. It was always money with him. Way too early. Another early line. Yep, early line lash. Yep, -1.5. Yep. Like, people don't already know how to read a contract. Dude, just read it. You got thousands of dollars on the line. Read the contract, sir. Read it. Jeb will call before bed. That's good to hear. 6-0 has wins over Notre Dame and Mizzou. You know, I know Florida kind of sucks right now, but we have to go there, and it's a tough place to play. You're not going to get a lot of clout for winning that game, David. But I'm going to feel good if you go out there and win at the Swamp in week 3. Noble Guy, what up, Drew? Checking in live from Dallas-Fort Worth on a Wednesday night. Good to see you, Noble. I see you waiting in the call in the waiting room to get on a call. Can't wait. Drew Deasy, what are you most worried about next season? I think it's still corner. Because, you know, I'm excited about the names you got. I'm excited about the potential battles to have iron sharpen iron, have the cream rise to the top. But it's a big unknown. It could work out. You have a good chance of it working out with all the, you know, the shots you're going to have in the chamber. I mean, I always make the analogy. You're kind of just taking as many shots as you can with your Russian roulette revolver. You're going to probably hit on one, but you might not. It's still corner because it was such a weakness last year. It straight up lost the Alabama and the Ole Miss games, in my opinion, was that position group, which is why I say Chappelle should be fighting for a spot and not be given a spot. It's corner. Once again, corner and O-line, but I like the experience and the maturity of the O-line now. I like having the new strength and conditioning coach. Tommy Moffitt was already training the team this week. I think they started up this week because school started this week. So they're in the weight room already. Tommy Moffitt message is being spread today, guys. It's happening. Be excited about it. It's a big deal for this O-line. You know you have the athletes. You know you have the bodies. Also the new offense and the new offensive line position coach. I think Mizzou won't be as good as last season. Lightning in a bottle, maybe. We'll see. We'll see. Drew DZ says, Bama fan here. It's been a rough week. Also a huge fan of your channel. Been following you since you started. Keep up the good work, man. Great to see you, Drew. I appreciate that, man. I love my Aggies, but I also love getting other fans in here because it makes the conversation a little more spicy. So really good to have you, Drew. I have another Bama fan in here. Barnes is his name, but I don't see him today. Barnes, you out there? If you're out there, say something in the chat. Just wait until Brian Kelly goes to Michigan. Is there still smoke there? Is Harbaugh leaving? Gary says, I believe Saban might have the big picture of college football in mind. I think he'd be a great czar. Yeah, that's the... What do you call it? The commissioner of college football, if you ask me. It's Nick Saban. Give him like a 5-year run at commissioner to get things straight. I want to talk NCAA football video game tonight. Dude, the date got announced. But can we trust it? Can we trust EA Sports to put out a good product? Can we trust them to even put out a product? Is it going to make it to the finish line? I hope we get that game. How are you liking all of Elko's moves and hires still? What's your favorite hire he's made, says Jackson. I'm probably tied between Colin Klein and Tommy Moffitt for the hires. I think those are both major needle movers for the program that addressed specific areas of need. Of course, Tommy Moffitt. We had an injury problem like from hell in 2022, but over the last 3 years, injuries have plagued this team. Don't even look at the quarterback rotation over the last few years. And the fact that I sloppily used the term rotation talking about the quarterback situation tells you how contentious that situation has been. We've had like 4 quarterbacks play every year for the last 3 years. It's been insane due to injuries. So getting a new strength and conditioning coach in Tommy Moffitt, a guy that will most likely instill more toughness into this team and hopefully keep guys healthy. I really like Tommy Moffitt. He has a great track record at LSU. People speak very, very highly of that guy. And then Colin Klein, the innovator, bringing a new scheme to the team. Had a very lackluster offense, obviously, for years under Jimbo. I'm glad to see Colin Klein in here. Those are my 2 favorite moves. Good question, Jackson. Good to see you, man. The only ranking that matters is the one at the end of the season, 100%. As a Bama fan, honestly, if anyone deserves a good season, it's you guys after the last few years. A&M is a sleeping giant. We'll see. We're going in with lower expectations than we have in a long time. I'm hoping that's a good omen for us. Feinbaum rarely and grudgingly credits A&M or its coaches. Proof his portal winners losers comments. I will love him eating his words. Yeah. Ricks enrolled a year early, so technically this will be his freshman year. I did not know that. Good to know, Noble. If he doesn't reclassify this year, reclassify a year / class early. Yeah, I see what you mean. I can see Kerr leaving after the spring. Yeah, it's possible. Jacoby just as young as Jacoby. Jacoboy? I'm getting my Jacobys mixed up too. All right, let's see a couple more, and then we'll get into the callers. We have Max and then Noble. I agree, Drew. Concern is still cornerback. No proven lockdowns yet. I meant to say Bryce is just as young as Jacoby. I was wondering where you were going with that. Jacoboy. Interesting. Yeah. All right, last couple. Did you see as of now Washington has 0 returning starters on offense? Telling you, man, the timing is brutal. They're not going to have as many players to pick from in the portal. All right, guys, let's get into the first caller. Max, you were on with Drew, man. How you doing tonight? What's on your mind, man?
Hey, I'm doing good, Finally got settled in. I wanted to call last week, but last week was just a little too hectic.
Yeah, I missed you, but I figured you're adjusting to some stuff.
First week on the job, first week in my new place, all that,
It's exciting, man. Hope things are going well.
Yeah, they're going good, working on getting some other stuff sorted out with getting people moved over here.
Sure.
So, all in due time. Well, the first thing, what qualities are you looking for to replace Bjork, right? Because that's like the biggest thing I'm thinking about is, we talk all about this coach hot boards and coach qualities, but then the athletic director has a lot more long-term influence than the coach does over a lot of things in the program, and yet it feels like you don't really see like an in-depth piece on this is what we want in an athletic director.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I have a wish list. I think for me, as a fan of football, I mean, it's not as important. Okay, you're making bacon, aren't you? I can tell you're making bacon.
Oh, I can. Yeah, I'm making. Actually, it's onions.
Okay, I was close. I wish it was bacon. That's okay. Okay. Anyway, sorry. I just thought that Ross lacked a little foresight in his couple of A&M moves that got on my nerves. I'll admit, I'm not the most knowledgeable in the AD world because, like you said, I focus on football, the AD stuff. It's not on top of mind for me, but I do pay attention to the stuff that really matters. The Mark Stoops thing, the Jimbo extension, those are 2 major red flags to me that lacked foresight, I don't know. I guess foresight's just the word. Obviously, the Jimbo contract, I mean, with no outs, I'm okay with the money. I'm okay with the length. But to not have any buyout is just incredibly crazy to me. It's just insane, especially in hindsight. It didn't work out. It was a gamble. I defended the one red flag, even though it was a major one. But then the Mark Stoops debacle, the way he just folded and went off of the move anyway after hearing the outrage, that to me showed some weakness. That showed serious lack of foresight. And at that point, that's when I was out on Ross. So for me, I don't know, man. I don't really have any preference with the AD. I just hope that there's a little bit more foresight. And it seemed like Ross was a really good talker, as an AD should be. But it seems like it was more talk than substance. So I really don't know who I want. I don't know what I want. I don't even know who's available. Just give me someone who can maybe feel the temperature of the future a little bit better, so to speak. What do you think?
I think in theory, almost anyone is available, right? I mean,
sure.
And it might not even be someone in college athletics because, a lot of times these days it's been like TV executives or whatever. So I don't even want to get into those types of people. But, one of the hires that really impressed me in AD was when Washington hired away Tulane's athletic director, getting someone who just completely elevated an athletic department like that and helps completely flip everything around. But honestly, the main thing I'm thinking about with Ross and what went wrong is how. Not, I mean, think about it, not only in football. Think, have you seen the posts by like Robert Behrens, I think is his name, the one of the Gig'em Gazette
Yeah, yeah,
writers,
yeah.
about the Directors Cup rankings
Oh
since
yeah.
Bjork was hired?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I mean, that should tell you it is not a football only issue. It is an institutional problem. And sure, part of the fall off is some old coaches like falling off and retiring, but also some of it is lack of foresight on when to move on from some of those people and make the right decisions at the right time.
Sure.
So, you know, it really feels like they need to figure out how to handle some of that stuff better and
Yeah.
make smarter decisions. Also, uh, obviously when Bjork left Mississippi, um, they immediately like they got Kiffin, and immediately things started turning around. And
Yeah.
now they have Chris Beard in basketball, and from what I remember, their women's basketball program is doing pretty well lately as well. So, immediately Bjork leaves and things just get better.
Yeah.
There's fewer scandals. And in fact, there's no scandals. I don't know of any scandal of major importance going on in their athletic department right now. Whereas there was a ton when Bjork was
I
there.
was about to say, yeah, he left. He had a wake of scandals behind him when he left with the whole Hugh Freeze stuff, and yeah,
So it feels like if the pattern repeats again, maybe A&M, maybe this is what A&M needed to get to the top, was they needed Bjork to go somewhere else. Also, Ohio State, what are you doing?
I don't know, man. I wonder if they see A&M's success in NIL and they think Ross Bjork is the key to that. I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking. It's interesting. I want to hear how the Ohio State fans spin it as a positive, as most fans do whenever they have an individual join the institution. I'm curious to hear what the positive spin on it is to be acquiring Ross Bjork after his last 2 tenures. But anyway.
All right, so some other notes I'm thinking about. I forgot this point about Wiggins because I was so excited about this other stuff I was talking about.
Oh, yeah?
Was he worked at Virginia Tech before he went to Bama, and one of my favorite non-NFL players he got to coach at Virginia Tech, Cam Phillips. If you watch the XFL in 2020, was an absolute legend, and he went up to Canada. The reason he could never have made it in the NFL, and the reason why I don't blame him that he didn't make the NFL or like home involvement in developing him, is because the guy is like not very tall, and he's like got like a 4.8 or whatever 40. He's like very slow.
Right.
So he had no chance of ever making the NFL. But that dude put up crazy numbers in the ACC and in spring football, and he won a championship in the Canadian Football League with Chad Kelly. He's been making multiple All-Star teams. So you're seeing not only he can develop like the elite talent, but like
Sure.
also he can turn those guys into those gems that can be real starting contributors whenever they're like low to mid 3 stars.
It's exciting, man. Yeah, I'm high on the guy. I mean, I hope it results in some productivity because I know A&M's gotten some pretty good wide receiver names over the last few years. Evan Stewart, Damon Demas, bunch of others that just didn't really pan out, just weren't developed, highly rated coming in. So that's awesome, man. I didn't know about this guy. That's really cool to hear.
Yeah, Houston Roughnecks legend Cam Phillips. Anyway,
Nice.
by the way, also Trooper Taylor.
Yeah.
I'm impressed that y'all actually pulled that one off. I'm not gonna lie, because like there was like fervent belief that he was not gonna go anywhere.
You were skeptical when it first got announced.
Well,
not
I didn't
officially.
know for sure.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, I was just trying to push the brakes because it did not seem like it was official. To be fair, it did take a while
It did.
for him to get announced, so maybe it wasn't official at the time.
Right.
But gotta admit, I'm impressed whenever you get somebody. I mean, it's like you pull. It's not like he got like a promotion. It's not like Elijah where he got hired away to be the legitimate defensive coordinator. Like you gave him like a lateral move in terms of title, but just snatched him away from a program he meant so much to.
Yep.
I mean, that's impressive work, man. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, I like that. Colin Klein, obviously innovator. We're very happy with the X's and O's, the scheme he's going to bring. But a young guy, probably not a guy that has the best recruiting chops yet at his where he is in his point of his arc as a coach. But you bring in a Trooper Taylor, you bring in a Holman Wiggins, you bring in, even on the defensive side, that some of the assistants you brought in, Sean Spencer, Ish. Some of these guys are great recruiters that can really buff up maybe a Bateman or buff up a Colin Klein, because those should be your scheme guys, the guys that just focus on your playbook, focus on building your system. Whereas you have some of these position coaches like Trooper Taylor, who are absolute great at getting players to your program. So I really like how he wove some of those guys in there.
Yeah, and then on top of that, you finally have a real special teams coach and a pretty talented one too. I mean, you got to feel excited about that. You know, I'm feeling the pain for special teams up in SMU too. By the way, we can finally say the defensive coordinator in University Park's name, Scott Simons, is not going anywhere.
Yes, you're
thank
safe.
Thank you for playing. Unless Washington decides to just screw me, I'm pretty sure we're good. Speaking of, you not only get Washington, you get Alabama, Arizona, and Washington. I mean, that's a pretty good trio of players who are able to go into the portal right now from different teams.
That's true. Yeah.
So like everyone's will talk about those playoff teams, but then you get like these guys who are still developing. You can still get a hold on them who are starters. Whereas these all-stars at Washington, they might be thinking, I want to compete for a national championship somewhere else. I'm not willing to go sit and wait a couple of years to try to win a title at A&M.
Right.
So
right.
You got a lot of things going your way at the right time. And I know it was scary at first, but remember how I told you it was all going to work out?
Yeah.
I mean, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It's kind of worked out, right?
Yeah.
It's working out?
I would say so. I'm noticing, now that I'm in this position interacting with more fans than I ever have in my life, I've noticed that we get a little short-sighted as fans. We get a little reactionary. We get a little reactive. We don't let things play out before we make our strong opinions sometimes. And sometimes it doesn't work out, but oftentimes it does. And there was a lot of panic the first couple of weeks after Jimbo. There was some panic the first couple of weeks of Elko. But things have really started to work out. I mean, man, we're feeling really good about our chances, and not necessarily at the highest possible level, but our chances to be very competitive and successful next year. So, yeah, man, things have worked out. The staff looks great. The portal looks great. Hope we can get Terry Bussey. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I mean, you're on the right track, right? He hasn't gone anywhere else yet, so
correct.
That's the first step.
Yep. We have three checklists. He has to get through a Georgia visit. He has to get through an LSU visit, and then he ends with an A&M visit the weekend before signing day. So as long as nothing crazy happens in Athens or in Baton Rouge, we'll be okay. So we'll see. That's the last straw. At this point, he's done so much good work. Even if we somehow lost Bussey, I think it'd be okay. But, that's just the absolute cherry and the whipped cream on top and the nuts and the onions that you're frying. It's all of that.
Oh, yeah, the onions are done now. I'm cooking this penne pasta.
That sounds great.
Penne pasta, pasta sauce, some nice, they're almost caramelized onions.
That's delicious, man. I had some pasta for dinner myself. But anyway, yeah, man, I mean, I'm feeling great. Much better than I did about a month ago, I'll say that. Especially about this DB room. So many options. They're just going to have to battle it out because I don't know who the best is right now. I don't know who the clear starter is. So we'll see. It's awesome.
Yeah, because closing thoughts. I'm really interested to see what coverage comes out on the AD search and what Lucci and all of them have to say who get perspective on it, because it's been a little bit since your last AD search.
Yeah.
And I've never, for my school, I mean, Rick Hart's been an AD at SMU since I was in elementary school. So I've never really gotten to go through the AD search process, and I'm kind of going to hang along for this one, see how it goes. Yeah. And I want, is it going to be the president who's involved in who exactly is it? The regents, is the chancellor? I don't even know who would be involved exactly in that decision.
Yeah.
But because you have a lot of new people, Welsh just got on the job a few months ago officially. Yep. And, I'd rather him make that decision than Banks. I'll tell you that. I mean,
yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see. I don't know. We'll have to see, man. I don't know. I don't really know who it's going to be, but I hope we get some stability like y'all have had. I would like to see some stability there. I know you said it hasn't been a while, but I want to keep someone for a while. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I hope you get some stability too, but I hope you get somebody who's much smarter about hiring and firing basketball coaches because SMU fans, we all hate our athletic director for how he manages the basketball program.
Yeah.
It is a total mess and a total disgrace. Wow. And we absolutely hate his guts. But overall, the athletic department has been pretty healthy, so you got to give him some credit where it's due.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, all right, Max, if that's it tonight, I appreciate the call, man, and we'll see how things continue to play out. I'm curious to see how things play out at Bama and Washington and even Arizona. But anyway, man, if you have nothing else, I guess I'll see you next time.
No, I got nothing else. Good luck on all this, man, because it's about to enter a lot of quiet, and you're not gonna have as much to talk about
I
compared to
know.
the
I'm
past. So
dreading
you
it.
got
I think it'll be okay because I only do one of these shows a week, the live show. I just kind of build up the highlights, and we're gonna throw some more national stuff in here, more so than just A&M. If it's been a quiet A&M week, we'll throw some headlines in here.
you're out to be the Florida State, covering the Florida State mess a lot. I'm sure.
They'll
You know,
yeah, they'll
good
produce some
luck, and
headlines.
I hope it does. I hope there is a lot of no news is good news for you, because I think everybody in A&M world needs a break for a little bit, because it's been a lot for y'all.
Yeah, I hope all the news we've received so far up until signing day, that's it. We're good. We're waiting for spring. We're going to watch spring and then nothing crazy. That's what I'm hoping for. But all right, Max, you have a great night,
Good
man. I
luck.
appreciate it.
You have a great night.
All right, guys, that was Max. Cooking show tonight. All right, we got the chat talking about cooking now. We have Space Jesus in here. He's keto and we're talking about pasta. Sorry for the abuse, Space Jesus. That was very rude of us. I've tried keto before. Obviously, I said before, I'm not still keto. Because it sucked, but it works and it's good for you. So good luck. I'm sorry talking about pasta in front of you, Space Jesus. Lash makes a killer pesto sauce. Interesting. Is Drew Italian? I am not Italian, actually, but I get that all the time. I'll just tell you, I'm a nice ratio. I'm half Mexican, half German. That's about it. Does that make an Italian? I guess. I guess. All right. I wish we could schedule SMU again in the non-con. I think some of those guys had SMU ranked like fringe 25, just like they have ranked A&M. So, interesting. Until the calendar is an issue. So, I heard this today. Just move the college football season back a month. Start at the beginning of August. That way you're ending at the beginning of December. And then the season's over when that portal window and classes ending and enrollment starts a month later in now, mid-January. So you have time to actually let the season end before the craziness happens. That's an interesting solution. Get the players on campus a month earlier. They're already there at the end of July if they're not already there all summer. But start like check-in like late June, fall camp through July. Start the season in August. It's not like people are not going to watch because it's a month earlier. Practice might be a little bit more brutal for longer though. Morning practices or late practices. Fellow half-breed, LOL, half white, half Asian over here. Yeah, hell yeah. All right, man. We got Noble waiting to get on with Drew, and then we have no one else. So if anybody else wants to jump on, we got open phone lines after Noble. But here's Noble. Noble, you're on with Drew, man. How you doing? What's on your mind tonight, my friend?
What's going on, Drew? Doing pretty good, especially with all this new news. Finding things, on an upswing for A&M, it looks like.
Yeah, it is an upswing, man. I mean, I think about how we were talking a few weeks ago, maybe about a month ago. People were pretty nervous, but things have
That
been,
was me too.
That was you, yeah. And I was a little nervous too, but I wanted to see things play out. And man, after that recruiting visit like 2 weekends ago, and then some of the names we've grabbed like as recently as yesterday with Ricks, man, we're feeling a lot better. And then the staff has come together. Things are looking good, man.
As the great Michael Scott said, mind how the turns table.
Mind how the turntables, absolutely.
Yeah.
The tables have turned.
No kidding. I wanted to go in and say, like, so I initially defended, I was going to talk about Ross York. I initially defended his, the extension for Jimbo, because I totally understood the circumstances of, during the 9-1 season, it looked like LSU was coming after him. And then the fact was that Jimmy Sexton is his agent. Yeah. And that's just like, when Jimmy Sexton's your agent, you pretty much have like
most powerful man in college sports.
Yeah, that man really runs college football. If we're being honest.
Yeah.
I'm just glad that we got Elko. Like, I think he's gonna be a great coach, but he's not like such a high priced commodity that he has Jimmy Sexton as his agent.
Right.
Not that
that's a good thing. Not having Jimmy Sexton as your agent. He's not part of that game, that national coaching game. Okay, Noble, your audio is like in and out. I don't know if you're using headphones or something.
Yeah, I'm about to walk to my car.
Okay, you're good. Keep going. It's not terrible. We can understand you. There's just some interference here and there, but continue. As long as you're walking to your car, you'll be good.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. I was going to say, I thought like Ross York getting the Ohio State job. I haven't seen anyone fail forward as much as anyone besides Cliff Kingsbury. Yeah, like those two guys. Yeah, talk about like failing at smaller schools, and then just keep
It's
landing upwards
remarkable,
somehow
man.
at the same time.
It's remarkable. That's very interesting you say that because it's exactly what he's done. I mean, he left Ole Miss a mess. They rebounded. They got better after he left. A&M, obviously the Mark Stoops thing, we happened to stumble onto the right guy, but the whole Jimbo thing, and I was with you, Noble. I defended the Jimbo thing initially, because you're coming off the 9-1 season. You could lose Jimbo to LSU, your in-division rival. You got to lock him up somehow. And at that time, it did seem like Jimbo was the right move. It seemed like he was worth it. But you didn't give yourself a just in case. Was Jimbo not going to accept that contract? Or should I say, was Jimmy Sexton not going to accept that contract if there was a buyout? Was that the deal? Or are we just forthcoming? Oh, no buyout. We got faith in you. We got faith. Well, what was it? Like, what was the deal there? I'm interested in that. I don't know. But yeah,
it was probably a combination of the factors. Like, we were riding. Everyone was riding high with Jimbo at the time, and it was a very desperate play of like. I'm sure Jimmy Sexton knew how much the fan base didn't. We knew we didn't want to lose Jimbo at the time, so
yeah.
I felt like Bay York probably felt like his job was on the line at that point, which it probably was. But like the no out, that we'll never know. I guess that's just speculation for moving forward. But
I guess I'm gonna give Jimmy Sexton credit there. But sorry, continue.
Yeah. Oh, you're good. You're good. Yeah. That's a Jimmy Sexton play all the way.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say, as far as potential new options, I've heard great things about the Tennessee AD. Like Tennessee athletic department overall is in great shape. Baseball, basketball, football. I think women's basketball, even their softball program, everything they're firing on all cylinders. I would be hard to pull away someone from the Tennessee department when they have their own NIL war chest and a huge alumni base like they have. But I think he'd be a great get if we could steal him away.
That would be awesome, man. So Tennessee is one of those schools that I would almost consider lateral, though. But hey, if Ross Bjork can fail forward, I don't see why you can't get a lateral move at an AD. Maybe someone needs a change of scenery. Maybe there's something else at play. Maybe A&M can just offer more money. So I'm for that. That sounds great to me. What about the Bama AD? There's an exodus of players at Bama right now. Why can't the AD leave Bama? I forget his name. Someone put it in the comments recently. But
I don't really know his previous work. I'm trying to think about their overall. They've had like good. Well, they're obviously women's softball, but they had like this. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, they're Nate Oates. I think his name's a pretty good coach. Their baseball program's meh. That's one thing I give Bjork a lot of credit is that he got Schloss to come here.
Yeah.
That was huge. I'm a huge college baseball fan, so I love that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd be open to the idea. At the very worst, but it also feels like he's ridden. It's easy to look good when you have
sure
Saban and that women's softball. You have like two Sabans in each respective sport.
Yeah, and Saban's they're making the program millions just by having a team that's in the highest watched games of the year every single year. So not that matters because I think all the schools get an equal cut of the TV sharing. But I imagine that Saban brought some extra dollar signs to Alabama.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there are kids. Like, I've been to Tuscaloosa twice before, and I swear I met, like, maybe a total of 5 Alabamians at the university. Everyone else was from, like, Connecticut or Chicago or New Jersey, Texas.
Shit. I mean, look at how much A&M grew after the SEC moving Johnny. I mean, just that alone.
Yeah. Football's the front porch of every university.
Hell yeah, it is, yeah. Oh, some people are saying in the chat, where'd it go? Oh, the contract. So Jimmy Sexton was surprised there was no buyout, says Franz.
What?
And Space Jesus.
Serious?
Yeah, and Space Jesus says, I heard that Jimbo didn't even want the guaranteed part of the contract. He would have just accepted the extension. It was on Bjork and the donors to put in the guaranteed part. That's crazy.
I defended the man a while ago.
Dude, I want to see a source for that because that is so juicy, David.
That's egregious.
Jesus. That is insane.
Oh my God, that's awful.
I know. Dude. Oh my goodness. What were they thinking? Oh yeah, good contract. We'll take this too.
If I had water in my mouth, I would have spit it out at that very moment. If that's true.
Dude.
Oh, yeah, that man deserved to go, especially after the Stoops debacle too.
That's crazy.
What
is that? Just like a pride move or like a vanity move? Oh yeah, no buyout.
It's him spending not his own money is what it is. It's like, oh yeah, I got the CEO of ExxonMobil and Buc-ee's in my back pocket. I'm sure they can, shell more money towards.
Dude,
dang! Oh my
that
God!
Is awful.
That's
if that's true, David and Space Jesus, holy shit, man.
Yeah. Wow. Anyways, I don't want to think about that anymore. That's painful to think about.
What do you make of the whole Bama thing, Noble? with
Oh
the way
man,
the
yeah.
program's going, DeBoer there, the whole situation.
I don't remember if I called in or not when this happened, but like, yeah, when I found out about Saban retiring, obviously, I did a little giddy happy dance in the middle of my work meeting.
Yeah.
Totally, everyone was like looking at me like, "What's going on?" And I was like, "Don't worry about it." And then when DeBoer, I thought DeBoer was a good hire. I don't know if you've discussed or not, but I don't think he was necessarily their top choice.
Right.
But that being said, he's a fantastic backup, which is crazy to think that a guy who's only lost 12 games, one of them being the national championship, is a backup option, and then he beat out what's his name, Dan Lanning.
Yeah.
But I think what gave Dan Lanning this is where I kind of like a little more bullish, I think is the term, on Kalen, is the fact that he's never coached in or has any ties to the South.
Yeah.
Saban, I'm sure, will help him, but like the recruiting, that's like those ties are what helps in recruiting.
Yeah.
And building your staff around here, and then because it's all big like network, and you gotta be within the network to be able to effectively compete within that network.
Sure.
That's why I think Norvell might have been even better fit for Alabama, because he's in Florida, which is within the footprint of the SEC.
Yeah.
I'm glad for Florida and Florida State and Mike Norvell they stayed there, because they've already gone through enough without having to lose their head coach on top of it. But I am a little surprised about the mass exodus, but I am really curious as to how they're going to run their offense next year, because they what's his name? Kalen likes to run a very, not necessarily an air raid.
It's almost an air raid. Yeah, it's almost an air raid. It's just like
I
the
don't think
modern day
Jalen
air
Milroe
raid.
is built for that. And if he's a good enough coach, I'm sure he'll adapt.
Yeah.
But like they spent Alabama's entire staff spent like half the season just adapting their offense to accommodate Jalen Milroe, who I think like is a worse version of Jalen Hurts. Like, it's still a good quarterback.
Yeah.
But I mean, if we didn't have our DBs, falling behind the wide receivers, like those throws he made against us were just wide open.
He's great at throwing the ball really, really far. And I don't think
Yeah.
he's necessarily the most accurate. If you got a wide open receiver that just totally busted the corner, yeah, he's going to find that guy. But he doesn't read the defense. He's not an elite thrower of the football. He's not going to do what Penix did at Washington. But what the board did say, and you're going to say everything right at your introductory press conference, and of course it works. I was like salivating when Elko was talking like an absolute football dude at his introductory press conference. But DeBoer did say that he's going to adapt the offense to whatever his personnel is, and that's what the great coordinators, the great offensive minds do in today's day and age. You're willing to do whatever it takes with the guys that you have. And I think he's bringing Grubb with him. I believe I heard that. I don't know that confirmed. I think he is. So they're going to adjust in some capacity to Milroe. But I hear people putting Milroe in early Heisman conversations.
That's nuts.
Yeah. That's psychotic.
I mean, they're losing the wide receiver core. They're losing some of their O linemen, like Caden Proctor's leaving. And then like you're gonna introduce a whole new scheme, and then put Jalen Milroe, like they almost lost to Auburn. Come on, guys, let's calm down here.
I know, and he wasn't it when he went up against Michigan. I mean, he was just. I mean, that Michigan was like an elite defense, but Milroe looked lost. He looked like he looked in week one.
Georgia.
Yeah. That was the Milroe that played against Texas that Texas got the easy win against. That was that Milroe that you saw versus Michigan.
He's very gettable. Like, I would still put Wegman over him.
Oh, yeah. And I do like Milroe. I think he can give you a chance to win, but I don't see Heisman-level play from a guy like that.
Yeah,
at least not next year. Maybe if he comes back a year later, maybe by then he's developed. But as an early Heisman favorite, get the hell out of here, man. No way.
Yeah. I think he's a stopgap until like whoever Kalen DeBoer really recruits. Then that'll be interesting, because I'm sure like they'll have Kalen's been able to put a good offense together.
Yeah.
I'm sure if it doesn't work out initially with Milroe, I wouldn't be surprised they grab someone in the transfer portal in the following year until they get their whoever they recruit.
Well,
ready.
Shoot, Will Rogers is still available,
and
Will Rogers was committed. Will Rogers was committed to them.
But I've almost wanted to go after who's their safety that just left. Caleb Downs, is that right?
Caleb Downs. Yeah, it's Caleb Downs. Yeah.
Oh, hello.
Can you hear me? Uh-oh. Did I lose you, Noble? Let's see.
I think I lost you.
All right, Noble, let me fix this for us. All right, we lost Noble, or we lost audio. We'll get him back in here in a second, but I don't see Jalen Milroe as a Heisman favorite going into the year, man. You with me, Noble?
Oh, there you are. I got cut off there for a second. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, I think my mic got cut off in StreamYard somehow, but what I was saying was, shoot, what was I even saying? Oh, Will Rogers. He was committed to DeBoer at Washington.
That's right.
He's now a free agent, if you will. He's in the portal. Could he go to Bama and beat out Milroe? I mean, does Will Rogers give him a better chance? Does he run? He's ran the air raid before. Could he go there and be better than a Milroe? I don't know if he goes and beats out Jalen Milroe after a playoff run, though. That's tough.
Yeah, that's tough. Yeah, especially Jalen Milroe, for whatever lack of throwing he might have, he was very popular within the locker room. So
okay,
that was
that counts for something for sure.
Sell.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Caleb Downs, you were mentioning, sounds like he is all but locked into Georgia because I forget how to say his first name, but their DB coach, they call him T-Rob. Yeah, he moved to Georgia. He's now coaching at Georgia. He was one of the best recruiters. He and Caleb Downs had a great relationship. It sounds like he's going to follow him to Georgia. So I don't think the Caleb Downs thing is happening.
Wow.
I do think...
Crazy thing...
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say the crazy thing is like a month ago I was like, salivating to get him, and don't get me wrong, I still would love to have him, but it feels like he would have been a luxury at this point rather than any point in need, because our secondary has really been beefed up in the last few weeks, and our safeties have never really been a problem.
Correct. Yeah, safeties have been solid for years. I would say it's been corner, man. It's just been the corner play.
Yeah.
And then not having a pass rush, I still, as good as the D line was, good athletes you had, it still felt like a lot of the pressure generated was coming from blitzes, Edge Cooper, more so than just guys winning their one-on-one matchups on the D-line. I still did. I remember like 2019, 2020 when you had Tyree Johnson, Michael Clemens, DeMarvin Leal.
Yes.
Those guys got after it by themselves. Metabike before that, Bobby Brown. Even Peavy could rush the quarterback as an interior guy. I don't feel like we've had that the last couple of years, and I think with this current D-line, you might have that even better this year than you did even then. Potentially, it's all on paper at this point. It has to play out, but that's something I see that could be an improvement.
No, I totally agree. It felt like with Elko as DC, you knew what the third down pass rush package would look like, and then with this last one, it really was the line. You had to use the linebackers to get to the quarterback, it felt like, and you honestly needed to drop the linebackers into coverage to help the secondary.
So he couldn't win
because it was like either get home or go off for 50 yards.
Yeah, exactly. And we saw before. I think it was the Miami game. We weren't blitzing well. It wasn't working. But then after that, they figured it out. But it was at the expense of those linebackers in coverage. You had to blitz to get pressure. I felt like. Well, anyway, Noble. Anything else on your mind tonight?
Yeah, just a quick pivot.
Sure.
I did say I want to talk about NCAA football games.
So, that's right. Let's hear it.
Yeah, so I heard that, the same rumors you did about July 12th. I think EA came out and said it's not the 12th, but it would be July. And then traditionally EA doesn't announce sports games up, like they'll close the longest they'll release the news is 3 months in advance, and sometimes it's like 1 month in advance. So we might be waiting we might get it as soon as like April and then as late as June. So don't count on any early spoilers from EA if it happens at all, fingers crossed. But I was going to ask you what your favorite mode of the game was, and then if you ever played Dynasty mode, who was your team you took to Natty with?
All right, yes. I've played a lot of Dynasty mode in my life. NCAA Football 14 is by far the most played video game that in my repertoire, for sure.
Easily,
just because it's been the latest iteration of the game for the last 10 years. So I've had no other option but to play that game every year. And of course, I play the hell out of that game between July and September. Like when the season gets close, I play that game a lot. Yep. I've had a lot of dynasties over the years. My favorite dynasty I've ever done was UAB, because I wanted to build a small program into a major one. They were in a good recruiting area. And I did this thing. I got them to the first Natty, and as soon as I didn't win the Natty, I was going to delete the file. So I was going to try to play the game until I didn't win a national championship with UAB and then delete that file. And I never deleted it. I kept winning, and then I just moved on to Wisconsin, and it was a mistake. I just stopped playing it. But I'd say UAB was my favorite.
You get bored playing for a bigger program is what
yes,
it is.
Dude. I like building up the small ones.
I honestly got tired of playing as A&M. I was like, I love the school, but
yeah.
I played it so much, especially when it first came out in high school.
Yeah.
I was like, my school was Louisiana Monroe because same reason,
nice.
same reasoning. I was in a good, recruiting footprint, and then it was cool to take a little school, and then like let's just see what I can do.
Exactly, man. And you know what? I have trouble playing as A&M because Kyle Field is so wrong in that. It's the old Kyle Field. It's classic, but I mean, I want the hype of like current Kyle Field. So whenever I see it, it just bothers me enough to where I don't play as A&M that much. But I do play with them to try out the new rosters every year. I don't do the dynasty with A&M because that just bothers me for whatever reason. That's why one of the reasons I'm so excited about this new game. Even if the players aren't in it, just give me the stadiums, give me the uniforms, and give me the fight songs. That's all I need. And then I'll do everything else.
I need the
community rosters. That's fine.
Yeah. I need them to be able to give me the ability to play Power as the walkout song too, like just for old time's sake.
We need that ability in real life. We need that. We need
honestly,
it back. We need it back.
Okay. New AD, new walkout song, or maybe old walkout song in this case.
Yeah, new old walkout song. Elko's back.
Yeah.
Elko misses it. Okay, just be honest. What did you think of this year's walkout song?
Look, I wanted to like it, I thought there was some potential to it, but it just felt,
Yeah.
Like AI wrote it. Like,
yeah.
That's so rude. I feel bad saying that.
Oh, dude,
but
you can't say that. You can't say that. It's a good dude that made it. Anyway, no, you're good.
Yeah.
You're good. I'm in the same boat as you. I like the idea of like a homemade entry song, a hype song, but the fact that it was like kind of a knockoff of Power.
Yeah,
was kind of
it felt great value.
Yeah, it felt like a great value Power, and I don't think there's anything wrong with the song itself. But it just felt like they wanted us to chant along with the song that was supposed to emulate the song that we naturally chanted along with for years. And I know Power got a little stale towards the tail end of it. I don't think Jimbo really cared about the walkout, the run out like Sumlin did. But, this downfall of Power could make for a great comeback of Power. Imagine the Notre Dame game, they come out to Power, brother. Imagine that.
Yeah. On top of like, new coaching era, like, I'm ready for alternate unis to come back because I need some alternate unis in the new NCAA game. Like the first year is obviously going to be just the standard maroon and white because I don't think we've had any since. We had a couple, but
we
I don't think
had
it's gonna
a
be the
throwback, but it wasn't like anything fancy. We had a throwback versus Kentucky, they were awesome looking. I would not be mad if those throwbacks in the Kentucky game in 2018 were our all-time unis. They're just like.
Junction boys.
Yeah, dude, they're awesome. But no, I could go with like a black again or something like that. Yeah, the all blacks. I don't know, man. I think we're due for it. I think it builds hype. I think the players really like it.
Yeah. I'll definitely give Sumlin credit for this. He knew how to make us look good, even if we didn't necessarily play good.
Yeah, he brought the swag. He definitely did. And they caught lightning in a bottle that year, and the couple of years with Johnny, it all worked out. I mean, it was just a badass couple of years that really took the whole program up a notch. You got to give him credit for that. But at the expense of Johnny's like mental health and everything that went down with Johnny.
Yeah.
But it was still a wild ride that'll define his life, which is cool.
Maybe in the off season, whispers the off season part. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
That some good content for you would be like review like or rank top A&M alternate jerseys.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that'd be awesome. I'm gonna do a bunch of arbitrary stuff like that. Like I'm gonna do a couple of top 25s. I think I want to do a top 25 like over the next couple of weeks, just to throw out like a way too early one, and then see as information comes in if things change. Or stuff like that, just fun stuff like lists, rankings, things like that.
Yeah,
that's fun stuff to fill. Because I don't want to stop talking college football. I don't want to stop consuming it just because of the
absolutely
word.
Not.
Yeah, no, we're not stopping. So we're gonna keep it going.
Yeah, another one would be because I just restarted watching Friday Night Lights. Maybe like best football like movies and shows.
That's a good one.
So.
That's a good
one. That's an idea. So I obviously plenty more A&M news to come, but there'll be a point in like May, where there's not much to talk about other
I
than maybe
know.
one-on-ones that people are having. But until that, right now we're still in the middle of it all, and
Yeah.
and then rest of college football is still in the middle of it all. So a lot to talk about left.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, I've done this for 2 years now, and it seems like I do get the most consistent views at the end or after the season ends. That's last year. It was the same case. This year, it's the same case. And then, of course, it's going to drop sharply because things slow down in May, and I'm kind of dreading that. But we'll figure it out. We'll do some stuff. We'll talk about all the hot topics outside of A&M, and we'll have some fun with it. But we're going to keep it going, Noble.
Yeah, I'll be here for all of it. I don't have a whole lot much beyond that, but just want to say great work and I'll stay tuned.
Awesome, Noble, man. That was a great call. I appreciate you. You stay safe. Have a good night.
You too, man. Bye.
That was a good call. Yeah, man. I'm excited for NCAA. That's just a classic game. That just goes hand in hand for me, as as a dude that grew up when I did in the heyday of like the video game upbringing. That's just like it goes hand in hand with college football. In the late off season, I play NCAA football. It bridges the gap. It gets me hyped up. So I get to do it with the latest game, and I'm sure many of you guys will too. It's exciting stuff. All right, let's check in on the chat, and then we're going to get to our last caller of the night. It's going to be Jeb. See if Jeb has to rant tonight. We'll see what Jeb has going on tonight. But Jeb's going to be the last caller tonight. All right. Yeah, y'all are talking Sharp. Sharp's the decision maker. Sharp's the decision maker. Doesn't matter who the AD is, says David. Yeah. Drew Deasy says, obviously under Jimbo things didn't work, but I'm curious for you personally, what was the most difficult thing about being an A&M fan through that span? I think it's I'll keep it simple because I think the simple concept that everyone sees from the outside was the most frustrating part, was just seeing the talent go to waste, seeing the 5-star talent now transfer out or just not result in wins. It was very frustrating not to follow up 2020 with improved play in any of the subsequent years. It just sucked to come up short, man. It sucked to get your hopes up. It sucked to go through every offseason cycle looking at this team, looking at them put pads on for the first time in fall camp, getting excited about how these guys look, how every year is a new attitude, a new team, and just to fall short time and time again. This last season was very frustrating because I felt like you beat Bama or you beat Ole Miss if you had gone after some corners in the portal the year before. I'll say it again. I think I've said it at least 6 times on this channel. Corners lost us those 2 games this last year. 2022, I know we were riddled with injuries. I know we played a historically injured and young. We were a historically injured and, as a result of that, a historically young team. You still should have won more than 5 games. You should have won 7 games. You should have beat South Carolina. If you don't give up the opening field goal, opening kickoff return that game, you win that game. Probably shouldn't have lost to the Cadillac Williams Auburn. You should have lost to App State. So you could have had 8 wins that year, and that still would have fell short of expectations. We were ranked 6 going into 2022. It's just coming up short, man. It's just coming up short. Letting talent go to waste, seeing these players come through and not really win anything besides the 2020 Orange Bowl. Sucks. Noble Guy says, next time maybe in the off season, we discuss our top NCAA games ever played. There's been some epics in the last 10 years me and my buddies have played. Yeah, I remember one in high school. We had a pregame dinner Thursday night. It was at my house. It rotated from player to player's house over the games you had in town. And we were playing that game in like the big screen. Everyone was huddled up. We had a projector set up outside. We were all huddled up playing it. And we were doing 2-minute quarters, short game. And everyone was like, I was going to win the game. I had the game locked up. I had the ball left, 30 seconds left. And I was just going to run the clock out. And everyone's like, no, go for it, go for it. I ended up doing play action and scoring on the last play. Everyone goes crazy. I took all my clothes off besides my underwear and left the room. It was epic. I don't know why I did that. High school was a weird time. It was weird. Interesting. All right, Jeb, you're on with Drew, man. What's on your mind tonight, Jeb? You ready to rant? You ready to rant, or how you feeling tonight?
I don't know, man. I mean, I gotta be upset to rant, right? I feel like I'm not really that upset.
I love that. I love that you're not upset right now. 'Cause I
Definitely
feel like
very
you were upset a couple weeks ago about some
interesting.
things.
Interesting high school story you just told us.
I
was
don't know.
like-
I didn't know how to stamp the moment in.
I
And
thought
did
you were
not take
gonna.
my-
I
didn't
thought
take my
you were gonna
underwear
leave with like a loss. I was like, oh, you probably blew it. But I was
No.
like, okay. I mean, it was a good ending. It was so random.
I had to stamp it in somehow. I didn't know what to do because you're in a
Oh,
room full of
dude.
just like, high school
I'm
age
not a-
hormonal dudes.
I'm not a big gamer anymore, but I feel like if the game comes back, which it obviously is, I'm definitely gonna buy a console to
That's
play.
what I'm
'cause, dude,
hearing. Yeah.
I grew up buying those games. I mean, I'm 29 years old, so like
Yeah.
I had some of the original Xbox ones, like the Joey Harrington one from 03.
That was my first one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the first one I've had. I
Yeah.
had the Carson Palmer one, the Larry Fitzgerald, Reggie Bush.
Oh yeah.
Man, dude, sheesh.
I know.
I'm getting old.
I know it, man. I know it's finally back. I know I'm gonna play it. I know I'll be there for it. But
They've been saying that for how long now? Like they released the date? I haven't kept up too much of it.
yeah,
but
Noble was saying it's coming out in July, and we'll get a definitive date probably closer to that. But yeah, man, I'm interested to see if the players actually make it into this one. I don't know if that's been confirmed or not. I know there were some complaints from some players about the
Yeah, that's what-
NIL situation related to it.
right?
Do
That's
what?
isn't that why they canceled it to begin with? 'Cause
Yeah,
players-
there was like a lawsuit. Someone was complaining that they were using their likeness, and
I
they-
knew that was gonna happen. We
Yeah.
all knew that.
Yeah, I'd be okay if they just put out blank rosters and let the community create it. I mean, just get
Yeah,
all the
seriously.
assets right. I mean, that's fine. But yeah, anyway, we'll see how it goes, man. I hope it comes out. I hope it's good.
Yeah.
It's awesome, man. That's
I
a
know
big
we were
deal.
talking about. I know it's kind of like a little topic, but the uniforms, man, dude. I was hoping those Kentucky uniforms we wore in 18 would be like our permanent jerseys with like the stripe.
Yes, dude. Those were
I
awesome.
still have mine, dude, from when I bought it back in 2018.
Oh, you bought one?
Yeah, I wore it to the Bama game, dude, and obviously it wasn't good luck, but
I didn't even realize they were for sale. I would have bought one too. Where were
They're
you sitting at the
expensive.
Bama game? I thought I might have seen you, and the only way I know you is from your little avatar. Were you sitting in the end zone?
no, I was sitting, dude, I was sitting up way high.
Oh, okay.
It was hot. It was kind of hot it was hot as hell that day too.
Dude, yeah, that game was miserable. There were people stuffed into my row. I think we had 3 more people than my row fit. So I ended up just standing down in the catwalk. I had a great view, but anyway, man, yeah, how you
I
feeling
don't know about
the-
you. I
Go
don't know
ahead.
about you with like the stadium, but like I kind of like sitting high up because I can kind of see the whole field. I know,
For
like,
sure.
I know, like reality, like you'd want to sit closer up to the field, the stadium, but I like sitting high up. I don't mind it, like midsection.
I think for guys like you and I that like to watch the players and see who's out there and see who's performing well, you have
Absolutely.
to have the bird's eye view. If you just want to be part of the game and feel the energy and like drink and just be part of a football game, yeah, sit low. My
Yeah.
favorite level to sit at in most sporting events is the bottom row of the upper deck. That's if I can snag
Yeah.
that, that's where I am. No one in
Perfect.
front of you. You have the bar in front of you. Sometimes you even have a cup holder to put your drink in. I mean, that's my favorite spot.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, man. I definitely agree. I'm one of those guys where like I just want to be at the game.
Yeah.
I don't care where I sit. I just want to be at the game. I want to be there in person, the experience, everything, man.
Yeah, I know it. And this year, I told you, I'm 2 games. 2 games I have to go to. The Notre Dame game. Hopefully, they're ranked 6. I hope we're unranked. I want to do that. I want to kick them off
Right.
the mountaintop. And then the Texas game. I have to go to those 2 games.
I
I'll
want
be
to.
happy.
Yeah, definitely. I'm thinking definitely the Notre Dame game. If it's a night game, because you know it's gonna be hot as shit.
I hope it's a night game, dude. Yeah, good point. If we get a 2:30 there, I'm gonna be pissed off.
Yeah, if
I'll
it's
still be there. I'll just
2:30,
sweat my ass off.
I'm gonna I'm gonna think about it, but I definitely want Arkansas. I definitely want to see Arkansas at the Jerry's World.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that, and you made me think like, dude, I gotta go to that game.
It's the last game. I
And
mean,
I'm
I don't
one
want
of
to
the
talk
guys that
about.
actually
I don't want
liked
to talk
it.
about Jerry World right now, man. But
Hey, you committed to McCarthy. You got him back. How you feeling?
dude, I'm honestly, dude. I'm thinking about professional therapy, man, because being an A&M fan
That's a lot
and
to
being a
deal
Cowboy
with.
fan, dude, it's a lot on my blood pressure, man. Like I don't know, man. I don't know how to do. I'm getting like gray hair. I'm getting like gray nose hairs now, man. Dude, everything's going on.
I do not know how you Cowboy Aggies get through life. That
Well,
sounds
who do
tough,
you
man.
like in the NFL? Do you watch NFL?
I'm really not a big NFL guy. I spend all of my energy on college, and on Sundays, I honestly feel guilty because I used to be really into NFL. My
Yeah.
dad was a Titans fan because he used to be an Oilers fan. So I used to be a
Oh,
Titans
yeah.
fan, but I don't know, man. At this point, I make a video most Sundays after the game now. So if I'm making a video and then watching games all day, and making a video entails rewatching the game that happened the day before. So my whole Sunday is filled with football. I can't justify it. I just can't.
Yeah, for
I
me,
can't
like
dive in.
I just pretty much watch the Cowboys. I watch a little bit of NFL football, but I mainly just watch the Cowboys just because I feel like college is just so much more exciting than the NFL.
Yeah, yeah.
But man, dude, brutal loss. What do we expect? Cowboys? Come on, man. Like what dude, I try to be like a very not too optimistic, but I was kind of getting drawn in a little bit because of like home field, because Dallas is like 15-0 at home.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, we got back-to-back games, home field advantage. They should play well. No, dude, I was soulless. Just how I feel about A&M football last year. Just kind of soulless. When you're so used to losing, dude, you're not even mad anymore.
I know, man. Dude, y'all had a pretty good year. I heard y'all beat up on a lot of lesser teams.
Yeah, just
had
against
a couple
bad
big
teams.
wins.
We were good against bad.
You beat Detroit, right? I think I watched that game. At the
we got
very
extremely
end.
lucky. I'm going for Detroit because I like Dan Campbell.
Hell yeah, me too.
I'm going for them to go all the way.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think right now, A&M has a better shot at making the playoffs next year than Cowboys Super Bowl, man. I'll say that.
I think you're right, man, because top 12, just make the playoff. Dude.
Top 12.
Okay, let's use that to transition.
Okay.
I was thinking about who the top teams will be next year, man. And I only come up with like 3 or 4 surefire.
Yeah.
My surefire, I'll give you my surefire playoff teams, I think, right now. I have Georgia as a surefire team. I have Oregon as a surefire team. I think Oregon makes it. I think Penn State makes it. I think Ohio State makes it. I think Michigan falls back a bit. I think they're going to lose Harbaugh.
They lose a
bunch of players. I don't think Michigan makes it. Outside of those 4, I like Penn State. Did I mention Penn State? They bring a lot back, and they've been free every year. They've been like a top 8 team.
Penn State could definitely make it.
Outside of those 4, people are high on Texas. I need to see it first.
They're losing a lot of players, but they're also bringing in some pretty quality guys from the portal.
They are. They're bringing like 5 quality dudes in. Yeah, dudes that are going to play right away.
But they need to, because that receiver, they need experience. So
yeah, they got the guy from Houston. And
they got Bond.
Those guys are going to play.
They're going to start probably, most likely.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They're going to start. But I don't know. Is Ewers going to take them over the hump in all those big games they have? Are they going to beat OU with Ewers? Are they going to beat Georgia with Ewers? Are they going to beat A&M with Ewers? Are they going to go on the road and beat Michigan with Quinn Ewers? I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't see them going like 11-1 again, but they can definitely make it. I had them going at 9-3. I think they dropped 3 games.
That's fringe. SEC 9-3 I think is like right on the border. So that being said, I don't know how much favor the G5 schools. And when I say G5, okay, not G5. I'm sorry.
There's no telling, man, because look at Florida State. I mean
Big 12 and ACC. Like how are they going to do? How are they going to fare in this playoff race? I don't know. Yeah, Florida State, they lose a bunch. And the team that's going to be the team next year just got boat raced by Georgia. That's the team next year.
Yeah, and Washington lost. They lost
Ole
like
Miss.
Their whole starting. Ole Miss could definitely.
Yugi says Ole Miss. Yugi, by the way, he says he is also an A&M Cowboy fan, so y'all can commiserate. Y'all can cry together.
Yeah, we need some group therapy up in here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's tough.
Dude,
okay, yeah, Ole Miss.
Painful.
Ole Miss is a good one. So I have 6. I guess that's 6. If we're gonna call Texas is fringe. I don't see LSU making it next year. I just think LSU. I think LSU falls off.
As their quarterback. Yeah, because they lost Brian Thomas and Malik Neighbors, who, in my personal opinion, the best receiver in college football.
Yeah. Absolutely, I agree with you.
They back one starter. They have Nussmeier, who feels like he's been there forever, finally waiting his turn.
Yeah.
Defensively, they were terrible.
And they fired their whole defensive staff. I don't think you could be much worse than they were last year. I can see marginal improvement there.
They have a lot of talent.
But they were terrible. And Jaden Daniels and those 2 receivers that they're losing, Brian Thomas and Neighbors, that was their freaking offense. They lose all of that.
Yeah, because their running back wasn't anything special.
They lose Denbrock. They lose their OC. He's going back to Notre Dame. So I don't see it. I see a drop off.
You're right.
I see an 8-win team at LSU next year.
What about Oklahoma State? You think they can make some noise next year?
That's an interesting one. That's a really good
Miami.
point.
Mario Cristobal. You think Miami could be good?
I wouldn't say surefire. I would say they have potential now that they have what's his name, Ward. Yeah. What was another one I was going to throw out there? Oh, Utah has a good chance.
Oh, Utah's good, man.
Utah has a good schedule. Cam Rising will be back for his 7th
Cam
year,
Rising was good before he got hurt.
Yeah,
he was good.
I think Utah has a chance to make
Oh
some
yeah,
noise.
Utah for sure can make it.
Easier
Yeah, there's
schedule.
definitely
Yeah.
there's a lot of interesting teams, man. There's no telling. I haven't really thought about it, but yeah, for sure. We named all those guys. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. And out of all those, I think the only ones I'm really confident in are the first few, and that's Georgia, Oregon, Ohio State, I guess Penn State. Now that I even say them, I mean, they could fall off. You don't know. They're not like a guarantee.
Nobody really knows until we see them play.
So,
for sure.
Yugi says USC. I don't see USC as a surefire thing yet.
Yeah, because they're losing. Caleb Williams is gone. Who's their backup? So nobody. I mean, I don't think they're for sure, but they obviously have a chance.
Wait, okay. Some people are throwing like some G5 schools in. Is there an automatic qualifier for a G5 school? The highest rated G5 champion, right? Isn't that an auto bid? Is that a thing?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's atrocious.
I would say whoever wins the conference is already going in, right?
But a G5 though, a G5 conference, a group of 5 conference winner, I don't see it after the history we've seen of that the last couple of years.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Boise
man.
State is the one that kind of caused that. Remember, because they were always
they were
undefeated every
respectable.
year.
Yeah, they had the.
But now
innovative
their
offense.
program's kind of fallen off.
Yeah, absolutely. And to see Notre Dame, people that know what they're talking about, putting Notre Dame as a top 10 team, that kind of blew my mind. And
they
that
lost
was like
a couple of their weapons. I
Yeah.
mean, they brought in the Duke quarterback who's Riley Skinner's pretty good.
Very
but
good point.
I don't really know much about. I used to be a big Notre Dame fan growing. I loved Brady Quinn and Jeff Samardzija. I used to love
some fun teams.
I'm Catholic, so I followed Notre Dame a lot. But I mean, I kind of hate them now.
Yeah, right.
But
they get so much love every year. They reload really well. I mean,
they have talent. They have talent everywhere.
Yeah.
So
top 10's crazy to me though. I can't
I wouldn't say top 10.
Losing Estime. I think they lose both offensive tackles. I don't know who replaces them.
The receivers all transferred out. I think.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, the receivers transferred out.
Yeah, I don't know. I like it though. It's good for A&M. I mean,
yeah,
whatever rankings mean, that's a hype win if A&M can do it. And
Absolutely.
I think A&M has a chance to do it at home to start the year in the new era, all the hype in the world, without the pressure that A&M usually has. The thing's wide open is what
from my time of watching A&M growing up, it's always like this.
Yeah.
A&M is always good when they're not expected to be good.
Yeah.
And they shock people. But when they have high expectations like they have previous years, they always fall short.
I wonder why that is.
It's weird. I guess because they can't. Pressure. I guess just like just like the Cowboys, pressure.
Yeah, man.
Hey guys, it's official though. We're the -- portal team, man. We dethroned Lane Kiffin. That's one victory.
It's not over yet. Right now. It's not over yet. We'll take it while we have it. There's still the spring window. That I've heard that the spring window could be chaotic, very chaotic. I've heard that people are going to realize where they fall in the pecking order, and I've heard that it's going to be more more active than you might expect.
Well, yeah, look at the corners, man. Dude, we have as of right now, we have 12 corners.
They're not all going to play.
There's
Some of those
no way
kids have to leave.
There's no way. That means guys like Sam McCall and the 2 freshmen that, from last year, Thomas and Rogers, and even Bobby. We love Bobby Taylor as a fan, but it's like, dude, are they even going to play?
I know, right?
I think Sam McCall, to me, is more of a safety playing out of position, but at this point, we have about 8 safeties too.
Yeah.
So it's like, what do we do?
Log jam. Well, and here's the thing: it sucks when you lose like a starter because they're bitching about some bullshit like Walter Nolan or Evan Stewart.
Dude,
not to call kids out, but they bitched about bullshit. They did. That frustrates me.
I know it's small.
Yeah,
but it pissed me off. If you heard him talk, sorry to say this, guys, I'm gonna be brutal. If you heard him talk in real life, he sounds like an idiot.
Okay.
He sounds like an idiot, in my opinion. To say that, it's like, okay, yeah, way to point the obvious, dude. Yeah. I don't need to go to you for information if I need to read a contract. I'll just get my attorney or whatever to do that. I'll read it myself.
Yeah, dude. You're not reading your contracts, bro?
What a knucklehead thing to say.
That's a knucklehead thing to say. And then look, I can understand if you have issues with your team. Like nothing's perfect. But I don't know. I just don't like getting.
It's okay to leave, but don't backlash your team like Evan Stewart has, and he has good rinse in them. Look, and he's going to a perfect Ole Miss.
Yeah,
the circus, man.
No, I do hope that they're successful. I'm not gonna wish poorly upon people, but I'm gonna.
No, I don't know him personally. I don't know him personally.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I can care less what he does with his life, but I wish we played Ole Miss this year, man, because we would have gotten them at home.
Oh man,
I wish we would have played.
I wish we would have played Bama this year. Come on.
Oh, me too. The one time, dude, I remember saying this 4 years ago. I was like, man, I'm so sick of playing Alabama, dude. They're so damn good, and it's always a guaranteed loss most of the time. And now I'm like, with the whole debacle with them players leaving and DeBoer. I mean, DeBoer's a hell of a coach, but
Yeah.
hey, now you're going to the SEC, man. Now you're going to a big boy conference.
Changes,
So it's like,
man.
this is going to change. And you're starting from scratch. I mean, you're going to keep most of your players, but you lost a lot of good ones.
I know it, man.
So,
I know it's crazy. It's crazy. I was going to say about DeBoer, I don't think I've really made any statements about him. I think he's a good coach. I think
It's a good hire.
I think he's going to work out in the long run. I do think, like Noble was saying, I don't think he was their first choice. I think they would have rather had Sark or Kiffin, because
I don't think Sark was going to leave.
Neither were going to leave.
Just
I'm sure
because
they called both.
Just because Sark and Kiffin love Saban doesn't mean like they're going to take over his program. You know what I mean? They're fine. They're fine where they're at.
Absolutely. And I think they would have been the kind of guys that could keep some of these players because they have regional prominence. They're guys
absolutely.
that are known, that maybe were recruited by some of these guys that are leaving. Whereas you get this guy isolated out in the Northwest who they don't know.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a bigger dip with DeBoer than there would have been, I think, with those other two guys that they probably would have liked, who also coached at Bama very recently.
Yes.
But I do think long term they rebound. They'll never be what they were.
Oh yeah, they're not going to be what they were. I even said that years ago. I was like, once Saban leaves, man, like they'll still be probably a pretty good team, but they're not going to be the same. They're not going to be the same program they used to be.
Yeah,
could be wrong, obviously, but
yeah. Joel Klatt put Bama at a preseason 5. That was that's kind of high.
No, Joel Klatt, I can't stand that dude.
He has a punchable face.
Dude, he's a punchable face.
I like him. I like listening to him.
A&M, we whooped his ass.
We
back
did?
in the early 2000s. We whooped his ass a couple times.
Yeah. No, I'll give you the punchable face aspect of Joel Klatt, smug face, but I do think he's a good talker.
Baby face.
Yeah. Baby face. Very.
He
very
hates
smug.
A&M, dude. That's why I can't stand him.
Yeah.
I remember when UT went 5-7, Sark's first year, he was like, "I think this team can make some noise next year." Like, I think, and then when A&M beats Bama,
he's so
dismissive. Class. He's like, "I don't know, man. I'm still sketchy about them." Which, I mean, obviously he was right, but
yeah,
but it's like at the time, it still pissed me off. I'm like, dude,
I know.
Whatever, man.
I hate his dismissive tone about us. That does piss me off, and I do want to.
Like, I know A&M fans, you guys know I'm very harsh on y'all. I mean, it's fine to have a negative opinion, but it's like, dude, you make it obvious like you don't like them.
Yeah, no.
Just like most of those guys, Paul Feinbaum, all those dudes, they all hate us.
Well, dude, here's the thing. They can hate us. We have to freaking win. We need to win, man.
Yeah.
We got to change the narrative. We got to prove them wrong, and then things will change. That's the only thing we have. I think DeBoer will be good over time. I don't think he's going to be good right away. You said something else that I was interested in, but I think I forgot. Do you remember what you were just talking about before that? I don't. You got anything else on your mind, Jeb? What else you got?
Man, I mean, I'm excited for the competition, for the spring. I'm actually, for once, besides that 2018 Jimbo year, I'm excited to go to the spring game, man. Hopefully it's still free.
It should be. It should be.
It's cheap as a kid, dude. Spring games used to cost money.
Really?
You used to have to pay like $10-20 for. I mean, they were cheap, but
yeah.
Spring games to me should always be free.
Yeah, I think that's part of the allure, part of the fun of it. It's just like walk into the stadium, pick your seat, have a good time. That's kind of cool. That's what.
Because back then, as kids, a spring game was always like, just like football practice in high school. It was your first string. It was good on good, and like you rotate your backups in.
Yeah.
Now it's like the spring games are just like, it's all over the place. It's just players, and even Jimbo made the comment saying that like spring game is just for the fans.
I think they find way more value in the practices and just getting more time with the players, getting your system.
Shit, is a scrimmage not a practice?
Yeah, I know, right? I know. They probably want to hide stuff. Oh, Jimbo did at least. Maybe it's a whole new look with Elko. Maybe it's competitive as hell, and we're gonna have a great time watching it.
I hope so, man. I mean, hopefully the whole field, the whole stadium will be open this time.
I think the players would enjoy it. I mean, shit, they're getting paid regardless. Like, you just go play. I mean, you're getting paid.
Oh, I still read those comments on like YouTube and stuff or on social media about how a guy goes, well, yeah, you can get all these players when you have the money. Well, duh, dude. Welcome to the world of college football, where everyone gets freaking paid. What do you expect?
Yeah, that's such a tired comment.
That's a tiresome. You could say that 2-3 years ago, but dude, it's in the world of NIL. It's
the
irrelevant.
World we live on, man. That's the world we live in. It's a bidding war. It's out there. It's part of it. It's not the entire. I still don't think it's the entire thing. For some players, it might be,
for sure.
But it's a big ass deal. It's a
very huge deal. Yeah, people like you can't buy players. Yeah, you can.
Yeah,
it's just like the NFL.
You literally do. Okay. Anyway, I remember the point I was going to make before I got distracted by the DeBoer talk. We were talking about Nolan and Evan Stewart, how they kind of bashed the team after they left. Like, come on, calm down. You got your money. You got what you wanted. You're gone. You're going to bash the team behind you. I get it. You're a young kid, whatever. But I do not blame at all. I do not blame players transferring for playing time at all. Because
No, absolutely.
you're playing the game at hand. You're using the options at your disposal. So whoever doesn't make it into the rotation in this DB room, even if they just transferred here, if they leave in spring, I'm not going to be upset about it. I understand.
No, it's all about playing time for sure.
You got to play. You're trying to make your career right now. You got to do
and
what's
it's
best for
okay
you
if
within
you
the rules.
transfer out. We're not mad at you for transferring out. We're mad that like you made those little comments. Like to me, it just kind of shows character a little bit.
Yeah.
If you're frustrated with the program, that's completely fine. We obviously don't know what they've been through or what behind the scenes, but it's like, dude, it just shows character and like, okay, good luck to you guys. You're going to Oregon, you're going to Ole Miss, man. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's like we said about Evan Stewart, as good as he is, as talented as he is, he's not for sure going to be a starter.
No.
I would think. No. He's got to battle it out. And I love that. We love competition.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we might get Chappelle back. Dude, the corner room is going to be – this is probably the most corners I think we've ever had.
This is what we needed, man. You weren't going to get a surefire guy. You didn't have a guy who's been developing. You didn't have a guy coming back that was like successful here. That you were excited to throw out right? There. You got to have no. You can't be worse.
There's no way.
You're going to find someone. You might not be elite, but you'll be better.
I will not believe it. We cannot be worse than last year in terms of corners because now we have proven guys.
One position group. This is the 8th time I've said it. One position group cost us 2 games, man. Ole Miss, Trey Harris dominated us. Alabama, what was the guy's name? The
who was that? From Ohio, yeah, the receiver for Alabama. I think he's out of eligibility. I think, or is he going to the NFL?
Burton,
he might.
Burton, yeah.
Burton, yeah. He torched us,
and he has a punchable face too. His little celebrations and him flipping off the crowd or whatever.
I try to forget everything about that game. To be perfectly honest,
dude, we were so happy for a half. Yeah, I thought it was one.
Yeah, absolutely.
We were dominating.
I've never seen a season. I mean, I've watched A&M. We've had some pretty bad secondaries growing up, but this one, I've never seen a secondary in terms of corners just get mossed like they have.
Straight up.
And just straight up, I'm like, dude, every time the Oklahoma State game, the dude literally just threw up a fade every single third down, just threw it up.
I know.
And the receiver average receivers that they have would somehow just come down. It just was sickening to watch. So I'm glad that Oklahoma's coming in here. He's forcing it. He knows, like, hey, this is a glaring weakness, obviously. We're going to bring in as many dudes as we can. And so far, it's an A+, in my opinion.
It's an A+, absolutely. And you got some high-level dudes, too. You got Ricks was a 5-star, and I just found out tonight that he was the age of a college senior.
We recruited him out of high school.
Yeah, he's young. He's going to be the age of a true freshman in college this coming year. And he has a year cooking under Saban's Bama. So
PJ Hayes is good. I like Donovan Saunders. I know a lot about Cal Poly, obviously growing up in the West Coast.
Yeah.
They got a good program. I like him. I don't think he's a starter, but he's very athletic. I think he could be a good rotational player. The Florida DB, we still might get Brandon Johnson from Duke. I'm still waiting on it.
That's one you've been on. You've been on that one.
He was their best cover corner. I mean, we have so many DBs, but I think the one position I think we need to load up at still where I think we need a little bit more is the interior D-line. I still think you need a couple more run stoppers.
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm happy with your starting 4 potentially, and then you really only have GED
but you need
and
depth.
The other guy coming off the bench. What's the other guy? The guy out of Wisconsin?
Rodis Johnson.
Yeah,
I just don't know anything. I don't know anything about him.
You need a couple more. I think you need a running back. I think you've mentioned that, and I think you need a couple of receivers. I hope you play Bussy at receiver at this point.
Yeah, at this point, because you don't. At this point with Ryan Williams, I'm not as confident as I was because I don't think he even knows where he wants to go. Because I know Alabama's probably trying to get him back. Auburn's trying to get him. I'm sure UT's trying to get him.
Yeah.
We're trying to get him. So, I mean, we're not going to know until another month.
Yeah. Oh, so we forget about Will Lee. Will Lee was the first transfer we got, I think, at the corner position, and he's here. I mean, he's a good dude, too. He's a long-time starter. He has experience. I mean, he's a guy we don't even mention. We just kind of glossed over him and even mentioned him. That's how.
Oh yeah, I liked him a lot. As soon as his name popped up, I was like, dude, I watched a couple K-State games. He was really good. Now, some people will say he doesn't tackle well, right. I guess, but at this point, I don't care. As long as you can cover, dude, that's all I care about.
Right.
I think you need probably one more linebacker, even though we have a ton on the roster. I think you need one more of like starter caliber experience.
Yeah, dude, I don't know what's going to happen in that linebacker group. I'm glad that we have one solid starter. So if we had like one solid returning corner, I'd feel better about the room. But we don't, so we have to see the battle play out. But with linebacker, you have one guy who's going to stabilize that, probably two backers that play. But even if you don't get one more, Jeb, we do have some options there, man.
Yeah, we do, and that's to me, it's a little worrisome. Is like maybe the chemistry is these guys coming in and like kind of gelling.
Yeah.
You
know what? We didn't mention it on the show tonight, but Shamar Turner's back, and I think he helps the chemistry. He helps the gelling. He helps the early part of the season. Because you're going to have new starters on the D-line. You're going to have a new starter at linebacker.
You really need it. You really need
throw
him
that
back.
I
think you're hurting. If he left for the NFL or transferred, I think you're hurting a little bit, in my opinion.
It was a big deal.
Some people will disagree, but I'm like, no.
Just leadership-wise.
He was your best defensive lineman last year until I guess he got hurt. And then, like, he kind of, second half of the year, he didn't play as well. But he was still very good. And they're probably going to play him inside, I'm assuming.
I think he is. I think he will play inside, man. Well, dude, we got a lot going for us, man. It's gonna be interesting to cover this offseason.
Did you ever follow Aggies Today on Instagram?
Yeah, I follow him on Twitter.
Yeah, I'm telling you, do you need to get an interview with him? Because I saw he's been doing interviews with like smaller Aggie like YouTube channels.
Yeah, he's like an insider, right? Like he talks to recruits.
Dude, isn't that crazy? I used to follow him on Instagram. I think in 2020.
Yeah.
I guess apparently he doesn't really like do Instagram stuff anymore, but he used to go live streams and he would always like let us ask questions and he would tell us like he would pretty much let us in on like all the stuff that he knows. And the dude was like 15.
That's crazy.
I don't know how he got all that information.
I think he was the age of some of the recruits and was able to kind of talk to them in that way.
Yeah, that's what he said. He said he just like, because I asked him, I was like, how did you even get this started? And he was just like, I made the account and I just reached out to recruits and coaches and stuff, which is nuts. I mean, that's like something that we could do.
Yeah, yeah. And I see him as like kind of like the local Hayes Fawcett, because I think Hayes did the same thing. I think Hayes Fawcett has the same story. He's like the national guy.
The Aggie Central kid. Isn't he like a student at A&M?
No. Hayes Fawcett is the national guy. He's the one that. Let me show you a graphic. He does all of the big time like transfer portal.
Oh, okay. I know his name. I just didn't know what he did.
Let me show you. Yeah, you'll recognize him when I pull him. I think you haven't been on Twitter long, I don't think, or you haven't been on Twitter.
No, I don't have a Twitter. Yeah. I'm thinking about getting one just to keep up with all that stuff, but
jump on, man. I'm super active there. Guys, if y'all don't follow me on X, jump on. It's the same name as here. I'm there all day. I
will forever call it Twitter. I will never call it X.
I'm starting to call it X more for some. I don't know. I'm finally adjusting.
Getting used to it, I guess.
I'm getting used to it. Yeah, he does all these graphics and stuff, and it's like a running joke that he's reluctant to make Aggie graphics, and every time he does, he half-asses them. But he's done a couple good ones for A&M.
Absolutely,
but
man.
He's just a dude like Aggies Today. Just kind of started talking to recruits, and now he's like a go-to for them. So,
which is not. I mean, sheesh, man. That's awesome though. But yeah, I mean that. Get one of those guys on there, man. Do an interview process.
Might have to, man. Maybe around the next signing day. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I know, man. A lot to look forward to. I'm excited, man. Next year, I can see a situation though. I was thinking about it in my head. I could see us maybe starting off a little rough, but I can see us finishing strong.
Yeah, you don't really have time to start rough, so that's going to result in a loss if you start rough, obviously. So you're saying
I think if you beat Notre Dame, you get your confidence because that's really all it takes, right? I mean, we saw it with UT. They beat Alabama, and once they beat Alabama, their confidence was like skyrocket.
Yeah. And last year, I called the Miami game the most important game of the
measuring
year.
Stick.
It's the measuring stick. It's the tone setter, and we played like shit that game. That was probably the worst we looked all year, I think, was the Miami game.
Yeah, defensively, yeah, because we just couldn't get pressure. We went up 17-7, and then once Van Dyke started cooking, I was like, yeah, we're not winning this game.
Yeah.
With the special teams, the kickoffs, and we just –
yeah, and even offensively, it was really just the Connor Wigman show. It was really just Connor making
dude had
plays.
Guts, man. He was the only reason why we kept doing that game because he kept fighting. The offense kept fighting.
Yeah, but it was led by him, and I remember Evan Stewart not selling out for some first downs that game.
Oh, yeah, that play still makes me sick, where he just had to go forward to get a first down, and we were going to score a touchdown.
And didn't Amari Daniels have a huge fumble late in that game that kind of changed the game?
Yeah, I think it was like on the 3rd and 1 play, I think maybe, where he got nailed behind the line of scrimmage, which I don't know why we didn't use David Bailey there, like I've been saying.
Dude, I don't even know.
If
Jimbo
that
did
dude
not
did-
believe in transfers, I guess.
If that dude didn't play in 5 games this year, we could have easily have redshirted him and got him back for another year. It would have been nice.
Yeah.
Because we need a running back, but you're
wish
gonna
we
have
had
to
him.
you're gonna have to get somebody. I don't know if there's any more high school kids out there.
Yeah.
Man, that coaching staff really messed up, man, with not taking a running back in this class or another
Crazy.
DB.
I know.
I mean, I know we're getting a bunch of DBs now, but they didn't take any corners. They knew corner was like an issue. Didn't take any corners. Didn't take a running back.
Yeah.
We botched on all the running backs, which is A&M's always. Of my time of watching A&M, they've always had good skill position players. They've always had
Sure,
good
yeah.
running backs, and they've always had good receivers.
Yeah. I would say the Craig era, the receivers never met their potential, though.
No, I didn't like Craig. I
Me
think
neither.
he was a good recruiter. Like
Yes.
we couldn't fire him because we got in guys like Demas, Evan
Yeah.
Stewart, Chris Marshall.
He got the guys here, but he
but
didn't
he
do
couldn't.
anything.
He didn't
Yeah.
develop them.
Even Anais, I always say he was really good. He's an Aggie legend. I think he could have been even better. I think
Oh, yeah.
Anais had like fringe Heisman talk potential, but he never.
Oh
even
yeah,
got
imagine
there.
if he would have came back for one more season this year. He had
Oh, yeah.
apparently he had one more year of eligibility,
Apparently,
which I
that was
didn't know.
crazy. That was crazy. Him under Klein would have been awesome.
I said, imagine him. We would have been scary on offense.
Coleman
with
Wiggins too. Yeah, dude.
Moose, him, freaking Jade Walker, Cyrus. I mean,
Yeah.
list goes on and on, man. I mean, we just got to fix the offensive line.
Hey, last thing before I let you go, I think you briefly
Yeah.
hit it, but Yugi's asking in the chat, any word on Ryan Williams? You said he was still looking at his options, right?
His name's Yugi.
Yeah, he's in the chat. Yeah, dude,
Okay.
he's the other fan. He's the other guy that was a Cowboys and Aggie fan, and y'all go
nice.
therapy together.
Sorry, I was thinking of Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, I think that's what it's after. I think his avatar is Yu-Gi-Oh. Dude,
I was actually a big Yu-Gi-Oh fan growing up.
I
so
was
I,
too.
I
I
love
was
that,
too.
man. I love that.
Yeah.
So from what I've watched with Billy Lucci this morning, or was it Aggies today? It was Billy Lucci. Like I said, it's kind of unknown. I think we're just not really going to know until I think his commitment day is February 9th.
yeah,
But at this point, he's visited us. I think he's visiting. I'm not sure who he's visiting next, honestly, but there's like 4 or 5 teams in the run. A lot of people think, from inside sources, he's going to commit back to Bama.
I heard Auburn right when it first happened, but now I'm
Yeah.
hearing back to Bama. Yeah,
But apparently, Jackson from Aggies Today, he thinks that like this guy's like already pronounced like a first-round pick, that he's better than Evan Stewart
no way.
out of high
Really?
school. That's what he
Wow.
said. I was like, really? I said, and I think he reclassified too, so he's supposed to be like a high school senior.
Oh wow.
But you
Wow.
get him. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah.
Dude,
I don't know how I feel
huge.
about the reclass guys. I feel like you need that.
They're just
last
young.
Year. They're super young. I feel
Imagine being a 17, 18-year-old kid going to college.
yeah, that's crazy. And then
We saw that
playing-
with Overton.
Yeah, exactly.
listen,
and he played his
Overton-
freshman year, which is crazy.
Overton physically looked like a man amongst boys.
It's insane. He was just advanced.
But I thought to myself with his play, and don't get me wrong, Overton was a solid player. But I thought to myself, how is this guy a 5-star recruit?
Yeah.
Because
Dude,
he lacked pass rush ability. He was just a pure run stopper. He was the big dude.
Yeah.
Alabama's getting him. He might be very good there, but I'm like, he was one of those guys where he just was never going to be a starter here.
Yeah. Yeah. He played a lot. I just never saw him get over that hump. So yeah.
Yeah, he
Anyways,
was just a run stopper, just like most of our ends.
Yeah. Yugi, it sounds like it's most likely going to be Bama, but anything could happen with these.
Yeah, I mean,
recruitments. You never know.
I mean, it's not impossible, but it looks probably unlikely that he's probably going to come to us.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you never know.
Exactly.
You never know.
All right, Jeb. I think we're gonna end it there. I think I'm gonna end the show here. I said you'd be the last caller.
Yeah,
so.
man. Hopefully we can see you at the spring game, dude.
Yeah, I know. Has it been announced yet? Because I want to see if it lines up. Because I do have some.
No,
stuff.
I'm
Okay.
sure it's probably going to be in April. Is it always in April, right?
It usually is. I think
It used to be in March, but they changed it to April the last
I
couple
think it's
of
like
years. for some reason.
early April or something. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I definitely want to do like a meet and greet and maybe sit together with some of you guys. And then if enough people commit, maybe a tailgate with like some free beer and stuff.
Oh, dude. Hell yeah.
Maybe
I
don't
Are you
know,
going to have a booth?
dude. Maybe that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking about
Can we-
throwing.
can we
throwing
get
down
an
a booth.
Can we get an autograph?
Get an autograph, sure. If you want my autograph, that's worth like a penny. Yeah, sure. If you want it. If you
Dude, a
want it,
tailgate
man.
would be awesome. That
I'll get
tailgate
some
would be
chains
pretty
out.
sweet, man.
Yeah, dude. It'd be a fun time. So if we get enough people interested in it, I'll bring it more up.
Do
as
you
the date
usually
comes
go
up.
to? Do you still go to Northgate like after like the spring game or the games? Do you still do that?
I'm trying to think the last time I did it. So no, because the crowds are too crazy, and I guess I'm
Yeah,
way
I was
less
gonna say
man
the
now.
same
I
thing.
like walking through Northgate after a big win.
I do too.
Like I'll walk through it and just taste the vibe. You know what I mean? Just like go feel
Yeah,
the
I know our
vibes.
college days are over,
Yeah,
but
I'm not jumping and getting in a long line to get through the bouncers and get in there where it's chest to chest. Like if I go to A&M, I like to do one A&M weekend a year, whether it's like in the off season during basketball, which is probably what I'm going to end up doing in a couple of
yeah.
weekends, or the spring game is a great option to do it, or summer, whenever. I
Well,
like to do a weekend, and I'll
last time I
go.
went
I'll
to
go when it's
Northgate.
dead. I'll go to
Yeah.
Northgate when it's slower.
Oh yeah, that's what we used
just
to do.
To reminisce.
We would before the spring game, we would go probably drink at Northgate, and then we go to the spring game because it's dead. Because dude, last time, I mean, like I said, I've been to Northgate in a while. So last time I went, there's like a bunch of new bars now, apparently.
Yeah, and it kind of extends down to, I don't think you call it Northgate proper, but like there's all like this new stuff that came up. Like that George Hotel, there's like a bar there. There's bars in front of it. There's restaurants there now.
I think Johnny's making a bar there now.
Johnny
too.
has a bar. Yeah, dude. We need to go there. We need to go to Johnny. Yeah, especially this Johnny's Money Bar. They call it the Money Bar. Is that what it is? That's hilarious.
I don't know what it's called, but
Gold
I read
bars.
That
yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's like it's still a good time, but dude, last time I went, dude, I was pretty mad. It was massive lines everywhere, crowded.
Can't do it.
I was like, dude, I don't remember it being this bad in college.
I think we were just immune to it in college. We were just so dumb.
Maybe. And I tried going after the Bama game for a little bit because it was still early. But dude, there's no way. Like there's just no way. I just went straight home.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I don't even want to. Yeah, I guess I'll tell you what I did after that Bama game. So, after I went with my girlfriend to the Bama game.
Yeah.
Obviously very depressed afterwards. That was
dude, very depressed. I got all dressed up. Dude, I bought the same chain as you, man. I was decked out.
Hell yeah, dude. You bought this chain, dude. People need to buy this chain. This chain is awesome.
A chain like that. I saw a guy. So I wanted a chain when I went to the Miami A&M game in 22, and this Miami fan sat next to me. And I'm not like usually like a huge chain guy, like a big one like that. But I saw a Miami dude next to me wearing one. I was like, those are kind of cool. And then I saw you wearing it. I was like, okay, now I gotta get one.
Yeah, dude. I know.
It was heavy as hell, man. I wore that thing on my neck.
I think I saw you, dude. I saw someone in that classic jersey, and I saw them wearing a chain. I couldn't tell if it was this one.
I was wearing jeans. I was wearing blue jeans.
Jeans on that hot day? You're crazy.
Dude, it looked good. I couldn't rock it with the jersey, man. I feel like shorts with the jersey just didn't look good on me. I know it's a very weird thing to say, but I wasn't feeling the shorts that day. I had to wear jeans.
They say there's no bad occasion for jeans. So, all right, I guess you nailed it. All right, yeah, I'll let you know about the tailgate, man. I want to do it. I want to give out some chains. I want to give out some beers. But I'm gonna take off for the night, man. It was good to hear from you, Jeb.
Absolutely.
I guess I can count on you to keep calling through the off season, right?
Yeah. So definitely for work, I had to go in earlier during the holidays.
Okay, nice.
But now I'm back to my regular schedule, so I can stay up a little bit longer.
Awesome, man. We're gonna keep it going. I don't know what we're gonna keep talking about, but
dude, we got plenty to talk about. There's always gonna be stuff to talk about.
Yeah, we'll talk about the past. We'll talk about the future. We'll just bullshit. We'll see what happens.
Predictions, absolutely.
Yeah, hell yeah. All right, Jeb. You have a good night, man.
All right, man. Night, dude.
Night. All right, guys. I'm going to get out of here. I got to go to bed soon. So I will catch you guys for sure next Wednesday, 8 p.m. And I might drop a video this week, but I'll definitely drop one early next week by the time you see me again in the live show. So I'll see you in that video, if not 2 videos. And I'll see you next Wednesday, guys. If you could like and subscribe, that helps me greatly. If not, that's fine. It's free, though. And I did notice, I saw a disturbing stat. And I don't think most of you guys are responsible for this, but 79% of my viewers aren't subscribed. I don't think it's you guys, though. I think the ones that stay to the last 5 minutes of the live show, I think y'all are the real ones. Barker, I saw you live from Tokyo. Space Jesus, David Franz, J2 says Scott Strickland is the front runner. Yeah, I heard that too. Florida fans are laughing about that, just like we're laughing about Ross Bjork. I don't know much about Scott Strickland. Would like to pick up another D tackle. Yeah, another D tackle. Young players are more easily coached up. Okay, interesting. I like that. Matt Myers, good to see you here, man. Duke Pastrami. Ronnie Barker from Tokyo once again. Yugi, good to see you in here, man. I've seen your name pop up a couple times recently. Glad you found the channel. All right, guys. We're going to call it a night there. Thank you guys for being here. Gig 'em.